WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Earlier today, federal, state, and local government officials and nonprofits gathered in Pineville, coming together in hopes of building a stronger East Kentucky.
During the Partners for Rural Impact Community Forum, a number of leaders shared their successes, dreams, and discussed ways to revitalize the economy across eastern Kentucky. I was at the event today, and here's what I learned. Many federal and local government leaders and nonprofits took the stage on Thursday, including Energy Communities IWG Executive Director Brian Anderson, who says their goal is to empower communities to take advantage of federal funding to help those communities thrive as the nation transitions to a clean energy economy.
We have one premise, and it is not to leave communities behind. We are in the midst of an energy transition. In fact, I think for the last 50 years, coal communities have been in an economic transition. But it has really accelerated over the last 10 years, and we're going to continue to see a transition.
Rocky Adkins, Governor Andy Beshear's senior advisor, also shared his thoughts, saying true success is regions and communities working together.
Those regions who have the same game plan that's going to be carried out day in and day out. And yes, we have our own individual needs and our own individual communities and counties. I get that. But the regionalism I've seen from eastern Kentucky has come so far, so quick, to where people are working together from the Mountain Caucus to the governor's office to our federal agencies.
And the Appalachian Regional Commission's federal co-chair Gail Manchin was also present, who says her goal is to bring all 13 states in the Appalachian region together, creating more economic growth.
That we'll start thinking of ourselves, yes, we are the Appalachian region. We are this mountain ridge that's very important in this country. So we're 423 counties and we're 26 million people. And the more we can start thinking in terms of what we can achieve as a region, I think will allow us to think bigger about our projects and bigger about what we can mean to this country.
Manchin also made a huge announcement saying ARC is awarding 5 Appalachian Kentucky area development districts $100,000 each.
$100,000 is for them to be able to hire support people to help them do the capacity building in the communities, to help provide that technical assistance to the communities.
The awards totaled up to $500,000.
Gubernatorial candidate Ryan Quarles is making his last rounds of campaigning here in eastern Kentucky ahead of Tuesday's primary election. Not long ago, the Commissioner of Agriculture wrapped up his visit at the Love is Real Wellness Cafe in London. He says he has the best chance at winning the election and taking the fight to Governor Andy Beshear.
And I'm the rural candidate in this race, and I feel like I've got the best chance of winning. And so we're going to ask Kentuckians to get out to vote. You can vote in person Thursday through Saturday, and again next Tuesday, May 16th.
And as he said, in-person voting, early voting already underway. Quarles was also in Mount Vernon earlier this afternoon and was scheduled to be in Williamsburg as we speak. He'll finish his day up with a stop in Adair County.
As Quarles finishes up his campaigning here in the mountains, some of the other Republican candidates have released their plans from now until Tuesday. As we said yesterday, Daniel Cameron and Kelly Craft will not be back in eastern Kentucky before the primary. Craft is planning stops with Texas Senator Ted Cruz in Louisville and Richmond on Saturday, and with presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy on Monday in Florence and Lexington. Somerset Mayor Alan Keck will have a 24-hour blitz on Monday. Keck will make several stops in the mountains, including London, Manchester, Paintsville, and Jackson. We received word from Eric Dieter's campaign earlier this morning that he will be staying in northern Kentucky. Still no word on where Mike Harmon will be campaigning between now and Tuesday. Incumbent Governor Andy Beshear will look to win the Democratic nomination once again as he squares off against Pepe Martin and Jeff Young.
Well, we are watching out for a few showers across the mountains for your Thursday evening. Here's a look at the radar. And as you can see, some heavier showers now over portions of northern Perry County, also into portions of northern Knott County. This is north of Highway 80, and these will continue drifting off towards the east slowly. So some heavier rainfall is possible over portions of northeastern Perry and also northern Knott County over the next few minutes. Also some light showers now near Salyersville in Magoffin County, also up to near West Liberty in Morgan County as well. So a few showers are possible this evening, but higher rain chances are on the way. Those temperatures stay mild, upper 70s, lower 80s, and that will also continue into this evening as well. But as you can see, those rain chances, they do increase by Friday, also into Mother's Day weekend. So be sure to have that First Alert weather app because more showers are going to be possible. And as you can see, some of that could be a little bit heavy out there. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Cameron, thank you. State police need your help in a missing persons case. Troopers from the Pikeville Post say 40-year-old Tiffany Tackett was last seen on April 29th in the Beaver community of Floyd County. Officials say they were contacted about the case on Tuesday. Tackett is 5'3", 120 pounds with brown hair and green eyes. If you have any information, you should contact KSP at 606-433-7711.
Today is an important one when it comes to COVID-19. The national emergency dealing with the response to the virus is coming to an end. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to Kentucky health leaders on what this could mean for you.
For 3 years, COVID-19 was treated much differently than any other virus or medical condition anyone would acquire. But after today, it all changes.
We are going to enter a phase where COVID is just like if you get pneumonia or if you break a bone and you need medical care, you go seek medical care for it.
That means costs are transferred to your insurance or even out of pocket.
Won't be sheltered from the consequences of this disease economically going forward.
The national emergency ending comes as a new memorial to the victims of the virus is about to be dedicated. Dr. Stephen Stack says there were a lot of disagreements during the pandemic, but says the state came together in good ways also.
What I saw over and over and over was people came together. There was no discussion about politics. There were problems to be solved and how can we do it.
Along with the federal dollars, Kentucky health leaders will no longer report some data on the statewide websites. You likely won't hear about the green or red counties anymore.
The federal government relied on data that it was receiving during the emergency, but when the emergency ends, the requirements for entities to report some of that data will no longer be in place. And so they won't have the data needed to create that particular graphic.
Going forward, Dr. Stack says he hopes everyone can focus on trying to work together to solve problems and not being so divisive. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Dr. Stack says he believes the vaccine was a modern medical miracle, and the emergence from the pandemic is because of the effectiveness of the vaccine.
As COVID-19 cases have declined and the weather warms up, travelers are making their way to the region once again. WYMT's Jordan Mullins paid a visit to the tourism offices in the Big Sandy and spoke to officials about how the industry has grown post-pandemic.
As the pandemic came along, many industries were impacted across the country. In the Big Sandy region, the tourism industry was one of the hardest hit.
This great momentum, and then all of a sudden screeching halt, everybody leave the building. And so that was really wild to go from such momentum and such growth as an entire community to then hitting the brakes.
Now, 3 years after the start of the pandemic, COVID-19 cases and regulations have gone down, while the number of visitors has picked up.
You're also seeing the nightlife come back. You're starting to see the live music halls come back because people are just ready and willing to be out there in the midst of it all.
And as a whole, the industry has grown. Some areas now putting more focus on the great outdoors.
In many aspects, our outdoor adventure and outdoor tourism is what kept us hanging on and kept us from really having to cut budgets in ways that we anticipated needing to.
And more visitors are making a trip to the mountains, getting back to numbers before the pandemic.
Seeing people travel once again and seeing the enjoyment of their expressions when they experience, whether it's Hatfield and McCoy or Butcher Holler, to us is a given, knowing that the last 3 years of work has paid off.
But there is still plenty of work and growth to be done. Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Prestonsburg Tourism Executive Director Samantha Johnson added for many counties in eastern Kentucky, outdoor venues, events, and attractions were what kept tourism and the local economy running throughout the pandemic.
The families of 2 fallen London police officers were presented with Medals of Valor for National Police Week. The widow and son of Lieutenant Travis Hurley were presented with the Medal of Valor after Lieutenant Hurley died in January of 2022. The widow and mother of Sergeant Logan Medlock was also presented with the Medal of Valor. Police say Medlock was hit by a drunk driver last October. The Medal of Valor is the highest honor that can be given to an officer for heroism in the line of duty under dangerous situations.